It is a Falls Friday. Wait, hold on. Let me check my calendar here. I'm not. Oh, it's Falls Monday night edition here, going for this broadcast, this live stream. I'm Jonathan Hull, sports writer for the Times Record News. Alongside me, Nolan Clark. Zach Duncan is going to show up at some point and join us on this. But this is a special edition of our podcast that we started. Usually it is Falls Friday night. It's Falls Monday night tonight, but we are getting ready for the best week of high school football action as we get Zach Duncan from Red River Roundup coming in hot to this thing. But hey, guys, this is it, right? This is the pinnacle. We are reached the state championship week. Everybody's getting ready. Every football fan in the state is getting ready to descend upon AT&T Stadium in Arlington. If they're not doing that, they're figuring out how the heck do I get access to Victory Plus? They're trying, like, these things are like Google Trends, right? In the newspaper business, like, we're preparing these articles, so when you Google it, you're going to come to our site to learn how to do these things. But man, guys, exciting time. Nolan, I know you've been jacked up. You got so many different graphics and ideas going with you. Just what is it about this week that's exciting you right now?
Yeah, there's just so many matchups. It's best on best in every classification division. We've had the last 5 weeks watching teams beat up on each other, upsets left and right, and now it's time to see who's going to hoist the trophy. And the big thing is you have 12 games across 4 days, 3 games each day, so you have four days of just the best football in America right here in the state of Texas. So that's why I'm looking forward to and seeing beyond the 940. You know, we've kind of been covering this area, and come this time, now you start looking statewide, learning different names, learning different teams, and that's just one of my favorite parts about this time of the year.
I'm not letting you answer yet, Zach, because we're bringing on our special guest right now. You got here late. This is your punishment. We're bringing on special guest right now. Muenster coach Brady Carney joining the podcast. Coach, man, this is a big week for you. So we appreciate you taking some time out and visiting with us. And, I just asked Nolan, what does state championship week mean to him? I know that you've probably been to several that you weren't necessarily participating in from a playing standpoint. What is it about this week that's so special, not just for the coaches and players that are involved directly with it, but even the ones that are just, even if they're just getting there to spectate, just to enjoy, maybe fellowship with other coaches and stuff.
Sure. No, I think like this is the week where the best and the best up, and anybody that enjoys football, looks forward to good football games. And this is the week you get them. What a great setting down at AT&T, and what a great time of the year. But I think that's the biggest thing. Like you said, I've been to a lot of state championship games, and it's just the excitement of getting to see a one-score game, a game that comes down to a final drive, and how those kids respond and so forth. I think it's an exciting week for everybody.
Coach,
Well,
take
have
us
at it,
through.
guys. Yeah, get them.
I was going to say, take us through, I guess, your preparation, um, not for like today, but like starting tomorrow, because y'all play early Thursday morning. Do you travel? I know Munster's not that far from Arlington, but you play pretty early. Are y'all staying the night Friday? Do you leave school early Thursday morning? Kind of what's it like having to do like away from the X and O's, kind of getting ready for this game?
Sure. No, today, of course, we were at home, and tomorrow we'll be at home, and then we'll have a walkthrough, another alignment period practice at 6:45 on Wednesday morning. Go till about 7:30. The kids will go to school for a couple hours. We'll get out, have a pep rally at 10. Leave town about 10:30. Go down to Denton, get something to eat, and then we're gonna have our walkthrough and our final practice at UNT on Wednesday afternoon. Then we'll travel on down to Arlington to stay the night on Wednesday night. Probably go see the 2A Division One game, maybe a half. Come back to the hotel, get some sleep, and then get up and get ready to go Thursday morning.
Yeah, Coach. Talking about y'all's opponent this week in Shiner, the other side of the bracket's been absolutely loaded. They've been making headlines left and right, especially with Keegan Ash from Mount Enterprise breaking all the state records. Shiner once again comes out of that side of the bracket. They've played two really good teams the last 2 weeks, Junction and Mount Enterprise, and they've only allowed a total of 14 points. And they also kept Keegan Ash out of the end zone last week. What kind of challenges does this Shiner defense present for you game planning?
Man, they're tough. I told somebody they're not complicated in what they do. They just do what they do, and they do it really, really well. A bunch of hard nosed, physical kids that play extremely hard, and they're very well coached. They got a job to do, they do it. And you can tell the coaches emphasize that. And it's the same way, offense, defense, all of it. Offense. Just looking back and what we saw last year on film is exactly what we see this year on film. Again, they don't do a lot of stuff, man, but they run the split back here as good as anybody in the power pitch, just as good as anybody. And I think the thing that stands out more than anything is how well they play defense. Their defense is outstanding. Starting with the D line, back to the linebackers and secondary. They just got 11 guys that are out there getting after it, man, and just extremely well coached. Same thing we saw last year. There's a reason Shiner's down there a lot. I don't know the exact amount of times. I think maybe 8 times, but I feel like it's been 5 or 6 in a row. It seems like every time you look up the Brooks brothers. Before that, they had another.
Yeah.
But no, just a very well coached, very disciplined football team that has some kids that, and I know you've been around it. Tradition and expectations go a long way in a small school, and that's what the expectations are in Shiner, Texas. To be playing football in December.
No, no doubt about that, Coach. It's kind of the expectations that are growing here. They're at Muenster too. One thing I got to ask though, like Zach asked you about your preparation and getting down there, and we're going to have some more questions about the matchup itself. But uh, Fat Man needs to know what kind of meal are you getting these kids down in Denton at the time? Like this isn't like a run of the mill Chicken Express type meal, right? Like we're not stopping into the McDonald's or the Whataburger parking lot. They're getting a real good sit down meal. I hope.
Yeah. I think where are we going? Maybe Cheddar's on the way down.
Okay, yeah, I'll take that. Yeah.
Uh, and then that night, I think we're going to Saltgrass Steakhouse.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah, man.
right.
Try to take care of these guys. You guys have been around football a long time, and what are we looking at? 4.5 months of football right now for these
Yes,
guys.
sir. Yeah.
Have been getting after. So they need to be treated nicely, and hopefully get them fed well and get them ready to play. But no, this time of the year, you're not looking at McDonald's or Whataburger or Chick-fil-A. We're trying to get a little bit something better to eat.
Good deal. I got to ask you though one aspect of this. I'm sure these guys got some more questions too, but the one that sticks out for me, you got to do something very special last year and win a state championship with your son at quarterback. You're getting to do it again, but this is that this is it.
Yeah.
Has that hit you? Are you prepared for that? What are your feelings going into this week?
Yeah, you guys are gonna, but yeah, it's one of those things that sure has crossed my mind. Probably been on my mind since we started in August. And it's not just him, but those other seniors that have been with him since they were little. I'm fortunate enough to be in the same spot, for 16 years. So I've seen all these guys grow up. They've been playing football together since they were in flag, all the way up through tackle and junior high and high school. So I've seen them grow up together. Yeah, it's an emotional week.
I'm sorry, Coach.
Yeah, so we have shared that moment where we won a championship, and then to be fortunate enough to get back there and like me and him talked about, he gets to finish playing the state championship, and of course we want to finish with a win, but yeah, it's been emotional, and it probably will continue to be, but I've got a staff full of guys that have kids that play. Coach Johnson, Wes has Simon. Jake Wheeler, Coach Wheeler's son, Coach Barron's son, Braxton's a freshman who starts for us. So we've got some coaching kids, man, and it no matter what anybody says, it makes it a little bit more special. And it's one of those tough weeks, especially having the seniors, Coach Wheeler and Coach Johnson. It's a tough week for all of us. But at the same time, like I said, we are for state championship, so it makes it a lot better.
Yes, sir.
Coach, it sounded like you kind of not dodged a bullet, but a really good Groover team pushed you to the limits the other day. It sounds like a big fourth quarter drive or a big play, I mean, to win that one. What do y'all, and I'm not saying y'all played bad at all against Groover. Groover's a really good team, but what are some things like, hey, we've got to do this better against Shiner because if we don't, it's going to be a tough game for us.
Turnovers. turnovers were huge. We had 4 of them. I don't think we've had 4 turnovers all year combined, or pretty close to that. I'm being serious. Casey's thrown like 2 picks, and we've had like 3 fumbles all year. And Casey had 2 fumbles in the first quarter, second quarter, and then we had a couple more fumbles throughout the game, and we haven't done that all year. So that's got to be the main focus. Is just the turnovers, man. It was killer for us and gave them some opportunities to score. But you guys, like I said earlier, y'all been around football a long time. This time of the year, turnovers and winning that battle it makes a huge difference in any game. And I'll be honest with you, just like I told the coach from Groover, I felt like they whipped our butts in every aspect of the game the other night except the scoreboard. And we were fortunate enough to get out there with the win. Kids battled. We found a way to win at the end, and that's all that's important this time of the year. It's not if you beat a team by 40. If you get out there with the win, that's the most important thing, and we were able to escape with one.
Yeah, Coach. I know my last.
Oh, go ahead, Noah.
Last question was kind of geared towards Shiner's defense. I'm going to go offense now. One name I remember last year was their running back, Quincy Jones. He led the rushing attack in the last time y'all played them, as well as their sophomore quarterback, Jarvis Williams, who actually started the year as a receiver but earned this quarterback spot due to injury and how well they've been playing. What are you seeing from this Shiner offense compared to last year?
Man, like I said, it's the same thing. They do what they do, and they do it very well. You can click the film on. You're going to get maybe a total of 9 or 10 formations, but they're going to base out of about 3, and their main one is double tie, flip back, and they're going to run veer and power pitch, and that's what they're going to do. It's nothing fancy, but just how they control the line of scrimmage from their tight end, their tackles to their guards and then their running backs run so hard. It almost takes you back to football, how it was played in the late 80s, 90s, 80s. It's just very, very simple, very methodical, but very successful in how they do it, and they run it well, man. They've got some really good athletes. But I think the thing that stands out to me is just how well they're coached and the effort up front. I'm a big O-line, D-line guy, and you just watch those guys fire off the football time and time again, and how they set walls and how they get on people. It's just I'm almost a fan just watching it because it is football and I love it. I love it.
Do you like the rematch aspect of this game? I know you'll play anybody for a state title, but do you like the rematch aspect of this game, or would you rather just see a new team that's not maybe out for some vengeance?
No, I don't want to play Collinsville. I don't want to play Lindsay. I don't want to play. No, I like new opponents, So I would be sitting here lying to you if I was telling you that I was I was happy to see Shiner again because I'm not. No, I mean, why would I be? We beat those guys last year, and they got so many kids coming back. You can imagine the excitement, the enthusiasm those guys are going to have, and that's what we talked about today. We have to match that. We have to find that same hunger we had last year because those guys are hungry, and we got to come out with that same enthusiasm. So no, I'll be straight up honest with you. I didn't like playing Lindsay this year. I playing freaking Collinsville last year. I didn't like playing Groover again or Shiner again. I'd rather have a new opponent, but it is that's the straw that's what we drew, and we're gonna go give it our best shot.
But before we let you go, there's one player I gotta ask you about from your team that really impressed me in the Lindsay game. And I mean, I don't think there's a kid that passes the eye test better on your team than that sophomore you got, Dustin Croft, that's playing a little bit of running back. You kind of boost him up there into a sniffer tight end role some. That, I mean, just impressive just to look at him. And then what he does when he's got the ball in his hands is unbelievable. The How much has the emergence of him really just helped your offense? Because I got on top of that point, let me make this too. When you played Lindsay, I think the Hess kid is unbelievable as a tight end, as a pass catcher, and he didn't have a single catch except for a 2-point conversion, and you still were able to turn out what you did offensively. And I think Croft, that ability to add him in there just really makes you so much dangerous to where, man, you can have a kid like Hess not really do a lot in the game, and you can still score with like the way you did.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all followed us much last year, but so Dustin was a freshman last year, of course, and we kept him on JV. We knew he was talented. we didn't feel like we could bring him up at that point and he play every down. I hate to bring kids up and then watch,
Mhm.
So we never brought him up, and then the playoffs got here, and man, he just turned it on. We didn't use him all the time, but he had huge explosive plays for us during the playoffs last year. He returned a kickoff against Wheeler. He had a huge couple of runs against Albany. He recovered the onside kick against Shiner in the state championship. So we knew going into the season, like you said, he's 6'2", 6'3", 200 pounds and can run. He can catch. So we knew going into it that he would be a weapon for us. And what's made it even better, we didn't know being a sophomore if he would be able to do all that we would ask him to do, because he's kind of taken a kid by the name of Caden Clement that played for us last year, taking his position. So if you watch us like you have, Dustin will be a running back one play. He'll be a tight end the next play. He'll be a wing back the next play. So we never have to change personnel packages. We can get in double tight without taking anybody off the field because of Dustin's ability to do that. And that's what we were worried about. We were afraid he was just going to be a run. But he's come on and become such a good blocker for us where we can put so many positions, and he catches the ball really well. So he's just a very dynamic kid who can do so many things with his frame at our level. Makes us very fortunate. We don't have to sub and change personnel packages to get heavier sets in there.
No, absolutely. Yeah, you just got to bump him up in the formation basically, and it's a unique thing to see. Gosh, for you to have him on one side of your line and the Hess kid on the other side of your line as your two ends, that's just, man, that's an embellishment of riches, coach.
Yes, and we've been very fortunate. And again, our success goes, it's all about those kind of kids. And Dustin and Garrett are huge parts of that.
Well, coach, I think we've kept you about 15 minutes. Zach, you got one more question for him?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we're going to let you. I know I said about 10 minutes or so. So we'll get you about 50. We appreciate you doing this, sir. We really do. You were on the first episode, and you're here towards the end here. And I hope all three of us, I know all three of us plan on being there at State on Thursday. So we're looking to hopefully be shaking your hand after another Munster State Championship victory Thursday down there in AT&T.
Sounds good, man. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Coach. That's Coach Brady Carney from Muenster on the Macaulay Landscapes Coaches Hotline. Real quick, guys, let me thank our sponsors before we get too deep in this. That, again, brought to you by Macaulay Landscapes. For
Come
21
here.
years, Macaulay Landscapes has been keeping Wichita Falls beautiful. Whether it's keeping your yard green and healthy or transforming your outdoor space, Macaulay Landscapes has the experience and care you can count on. Visit MacaulayLandscapes.com to learn more about their full range of services. Macaulay Landscapes, making Wichita Falls look its best since 2003. And then our main sponsor, you see their logo up in the right-hand corner of this podcast the entire time. It's Arrowhead Roofing. For more than 25 years, Arrowhead Roofing has been Texoma's trusted name for roofing, siding, gutters, and more. Local families count on Arrowhead to protect what matters most, their homes. When storms hit or it's time for an upgrade, call the team Texoma has relied on since 1999. Arrowhead Roofing, the exterior experts. All right, guys. Hey, we're going to start rolling through these games one by one, looking at them. We've all made our picks known. We're going to do it kind of brief because we're already 20 minutes into this thing. I don't think we're looking to spend an hour and a half or 2 hours on this, but uh, I think we got to start with the guy that we just talked to and break down that Class 2A Division II state championship game between Munster and Shiner first. And so, putting up our predictions right now, and we see Zach Duncan playing the villain.
I mean, I just think like Shiner has a decent chance to win. They're playing well. I think it's a toss-up type game. I'd like for Munster to win. It'd be great if they did. I think Shiner, like you said, like those guys are going to come out really fired up for that. I've been impressed. They held Mount Enterprise to 8 points. Um, I hope I'm proven wrong. I think sometimes we just pick all the same team because it's like, oh hey, this team's kind of nearby, and I think it should be a great game. I think it should be. It was one of the best games, if not the best game probably last year was South Oak Cliff and Randall, but
Yeah.
it was probably the second best game last year at State, and I expect it to have the potential to be a top 2 or 3 game again. Start us off right on Thursday. So
Of the three of us, the only guy who was down there to watch last year's game was Nolan. What are your memories of that game, and why do you give Munster the edge in your pick this year?
Yeah, I can't say Zach Duncan is not wrong. We've been talking about it. I've had the gut feeling of actually wanting to pick Shiner too, but there's just when I sat and thought about it, I just these Munster kids have never given me a reason to ever pick against them at this time of year. Each team returns their key pieces. Munster has quarterback Case and Carney coming back. All the names we've talked about: Nolan Peel, Legend Bounds, Rhett Walter Shed on the defensive side of the ball. Shiner has their running back Quincy Jones coming back. I mean, it's kind of just like a matchup 2.0 pretty much from last year. It feels like um, reading around, watching some videos, it kind of feels like this game is obviously one going to come down to mistakes and two going to come down to special teams. I'm really thinking that Munster kind of got their, I don't know like what Zach said, they didn't play bad, but I'm kind of hoping they got their bad game out of the way with Gruber last week. It wasn't pretty. Coach Carney said they had a bunch of turnovers. I think they're not going to let that happen again. So that's kind of why I went with Munster in this one instead of Shiner.
Yeah,
I'm on the same.
sometimes you
Go ahead,
get
Zach.
that bad game out of the way. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
sometimes you need to get that game. Not, I mean, you obviously want to play your best every single game, but sometimes you need that, like, oh, not a wake up game, obviously, because it's a state semifinal, but you need that, hey, like, close call that kind of really, really energizes you and gets you focused. And I'm not saying they weren't focused. Coach Carney does a great job with that. But yeah, like I'm anxious to see how they respond because they really could have lost that game and they
Mhm.
made some big plays down the stretch to win it. But yeah, like Carney said, Groover was pretty much the better team on every aspect except the final score. So yeah, I think
It,
that could be a good thing for Munster going into this.
well, and it's one of those. Sometimes you just run into those games, right, where the unusual just starts happening. He mentioned that the turnovers. We're not usually a turnover, plagued team, and then it happens that day. The fact that they were able to get over that hump speaks volumes to me. The fact that you were able to get over the fact that you had that off game against a good team capable of beating you and still won, that really is why I'm coming back around and I'm picking Munster. I just think that the weapons that they have on offense. No offense to who Shiner play. I listen. I know they just shut down a record-setting running back, and I've got a lot of respect for Mount Enterprise coach Scott Ponder and what he does offensively. Uh, Listen, he's established himself as one of the best offensive minds in the history of this game to me, with things that he's achieved in previous stops like Petrolia and Ryder. But it and Bells. Let's not forget Bells and the crazy numbers they put up sometimes there. But anyway, I just think that what Munster has up front with the size of their athletes, I really do. I think Garrett Hess and Dustin Croft can be difference makers on the edge there, as and Croft being both a runner and a receiver. To me, there's just so many offensive weapons that Shiner is going to have a tough time stopping them. They're not going to be able to zero in on one guy. Can't zero in on Carney. You can't zero in on Peel, Croft, Hess. You got to try to stop all of them. Clayton Cunningham. You got to stop all of them. And I think that's just going to be a real difficult thing for any team at that 2A level. So there you go. There's our picks. That's our breakdown of this one. We're going to keep going with this. All right, go to the next division. I want to go back up to the top though. Let's go up to 6A D1. Break down a very familiar matchup, right? Anybody got tabs on how many times Duncanville and North Shore has played? I know Zach, you probably got that off the top of your head. I'm going to put you on the spot that you do.
This is six since
Yeah.
2000 and
2018.
yeah, 2018 Hail Mary. So not every year since then, but they yeah, almost every year. I believe North Shore won the first three, Duncanville's won the last two. So Duncanville can even up the state series, go to a game seven after this with a win. I mean, listen, I think this could go either way. All these games could go either way, but Duncanville really impressed me against Allen. I thought that would be a real good game, and they kind of suffocated, that Allen. I don't know. I picked North Shore because I figured everyone's picking Duncanville, and I don't think it's gonna. Here's the deal. I don't think it's gonna be a Dallas sweep. It's Dallas versus Houston Saturday at AT&T, basically, because you have South Oak Cliff versus Richmond Randall, and then you have DeSoto versus
Shelton.
Shelton King.
Yeah, Houston
Yeah.
King or whatever. And then yeah, and I think I'm spoiler alert. I'm going with DeSoto and South Oak Cliff, but I don't think Dallas is sweeping it. So when it came down to it, I was like, oh well, if Dallas, we're not going to sweep it. We'll give the win to North Shore in the middle. That's how my brain works. So that's my expert analysis that you're tuning in for.
Yeah, for me,
Nolan sounds a little smarter than he does, Nolan.
I don't know about that one, but y'all know where I graduated from. So, but for me, North Shore has just kind of shown they've been susceptible sometimes this year. They both played South Oak Cliff at the beginning of the year. I know that's back in August, September. North Shore lost to South Oak Cliff, and Duncanville beat South Oak Cliff. But then we saw the final week of the regular season, Summer Creek shut out North Shore. And as I was reading on these teams, I've read about how well this Duncanville D line is, and how these offensive playmakers, when you give them some open space, they can make things happen. And I think we saw that come to life last week when they played Allen. And obviously, you can say the same thing for North Shore. They took it to fourth-ranked Lake Travis as well last week. But just with what I've seen all year long, that's why I went with Duncanville over North Shore.
I'm taking Duncanville for the D line. I mean, it really is that simple. You got two dudes that are going to be playing SEC ball next year, bookending that D line. And man, I don't know. I don't know anybody that's got that. That's hard to contend with. And I know that's a D1 quarterback playing for North Shore too, in Caleb Maryland. But man, Landon Barnes and KJ Ford, one going to Ole Miss, one going to Florida. Uh, that's nasty. That's
Hope he can
nasty, and
run because he's going to have some pressure on him all game.
that's yes, exactly. Those guys are coming in hot. So, yeah, that lead me to Duncanville, and I think Duncanville. I mean, the only loss was right to Waxahachie. I think they got over that, and I think Waxahachie was legit too. I mean, they gave them another. They gave Duncanville a challenge in the playoffs too, and uh, that they play in such a good district. I just think Duncanville's been tested throughout the process. Not that North Shore hasn't, but I just think Duncanville passes it a little bit better than North Shore. That's where I went with it. Let's get we're just going to keep going, quick hitting these things. Let me get the 6A D2 matchup coming in. DeSoto versus Sheldon King. We just mentioned that Zach's going with DeSoto. I'm the lone wolf here, going with the King Panthers.
Here's the deal. This is how I look at things. Again, you're getting expert analysis here. I thought South Lake Carroll was going to win it all. I really did. I
Yeah,
thought this was their year.
You weren't the only one.
I wasn't the only one. So to me, if you beat the team that was supposed to win it all, and they did impressively, they were down 16 in the second half, came back. Everyone's seen the goal line play right now, stopping South Lake's quarterback from the end zone, and then the running backs playing so well. If you beat the team I think is going to win state, then I'm picking you to win state. So that's why I'm going to Soto.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of looking it down. This might be my favorite one to state game to watch this week. I'm glad it's Saturday night because I really don't have much interest in watching James Madison, Oregon. So I'm definitely going to be watching this one. This one's not going to be boring to spectators at all. Each team can score numerous points. They're very explosive. Each defense can give up explosive plays as well. So it's literally probably going to be the first one to whoever can score 50 points. We saw last week when, just like Zach said, whenever they made the goal line stand, they gave it off to DeSoto's running back, Sherrod Baker. He took it like 99.5 yards and put the exclamation point. And just looking at who each team has played leading up to this game, I feel like DeSoto is so much more battle-tested, and they've also been on the stage way many more times than C. King has. So that's why I chose DeSoto on this one.
Here's the interesting thing about the 99-yard touchdown run, and this is just an aside. I know we got to speed through these, but they could have easily taken the safety or just QB synced it up the middle. There was no reason to hand the ball off there because a handoff you could fumble and then you fumble the ball and it goes in the end zone and South Lake recovers. But they did, and so I thought that was pretty interesting that they had so much faith in their stud running back. He just breaks it for 99. It's pretty cool.
I'm I've been watching all the Rocky movies in order. To just man, they're available on Peacock, and I'm just like, yeah, I'll do that. I haven't done that in a minute. So Rocky 2, just watched it the other night, and I love the quote from Mickey in that, and it's a speed's what we need, greasy fast speed, and man, that fits here with C. King because of that. Man, they got a sophomore wide receiver who's, I mean, he's got an electric, like 100-meter legit track speed, like low tens that he can run that in, and he's been a difference maker for them. Playing receiver for them really emerged, giving them something. And I just think this can be one of the best stories at state. I may be picking this game biased for the best story because this team finished 5-5 and didn't even make the playoffs last year, and now they're playing for a state championship. It's not like this is a brand new program that experienced this insurgence of transfers and new recruits and stuff. This is essentially the same team coming in from a 5-5 season, get a new coach, and you're playing for a state title. That's incredible. That does not happen year after year in high school football. It's unique, and it just makes for a great story.
Now, I will say, aren't they in North Shores District? So like
Yes.
that Humble at Acosta, like all those teams, like that's probably one of the best two districts in the state. Basically, you have your Duncanville district with and
Yes.
then you have this district. So um, and that's amazing, crazy story. But like they were probably the fifth best team in the best district in the state.
Fair.
So it's not like they were 2-8 and struggling or whatever. But I agree. Yeah, it should be a good game.
All right, let's go on. 5A D1. Keep chugging along here. Frisco Lone Star versus Smithson Valley. I'm flying alone by myself here again. You guys go with Lone Star. I gotta feel like this is kind of similar to the way you feel about the D1 game, and the fact that Lone Star just knocked off Alito last week has to have impacted your decisions.
Yeah, that's why I picked for Lone Star. Same spoiler alert. I thought Alito was going to win it all. Alito lost to Lone Star. An impressive way that Lone Star came back. They like to score lots of points. I just think if this game's a high scoring game, Lone Star gets the edge. But I'm sure Smithson Valley, they're usually pretty good. Front, I could see this being a grinded out type game for them as well. But yeah, that's why I picked Lone Star.
Yeah, for me, Lone Star, they're kind of a quicker paced team. They can fly around and score. We obviously saw that at the end of their game with Alito. Smithson Valley is kind of a slower pace. We're going to kind of ground and pound, make it a fight in the trenches type deal. So I kind of feel like, obviously, however the pace of the game's going, if you're having to really fight for yardage, it may go Smithson Valley's way. If it's kind of a shootout, then it's going to go more towards Frisco Lone Star way. But like Zach said, what Frisco Lone Star did last week, top one Alito, I thought Alito was a lock to win state championship before they go up to 6A. So I'm running with Lone Star in this one.
Impressive quarterback, right? Sophomore Trey Wright at Lone Star. To lead them, again, just a sophomore, to lead that program past Alito. You know, he threw the decisive touchdown in that. He's got a Florida commit or signee, I'm sorry, at wide receiver in Gross. But for me, I think what stood out for me when I went with Smithson Valley, I think that their strength of schedule down there that they've played is very deceiving. I think it's really, really good. But also one of the best players that I saw. I got to cover just about every game at state last year. It was a great experience for me. Uh, and you know, Zach, you've gotten to do that before. It's just something about it. Whenever you get to be with each one, man, it's a special thing. But one of the best players I saw that entire week was Hudson Woods from Smithson Valley, and he's back. He's an SMU commit, and I really like what they do defensively. And let's keep in mind, man, like if this comes down to a kicking game, Smithson Valley's got a dude that made 4 field goals in the state championship game last year, right? I mean, it's tied a UIL record. So there's if it comes down to, if we're talking about a close game and special teams and kicking, I like Smithson Valley in a close game.
If Smithson Valley's kicking field goals, though, I think Lone Star wins. Like I think this is a game you're going to have to match
But you might
touchdown
have
for touchdown.
thought that last year too when they were playing Highland Park. I mean, it just these things you don't know how a game goes sometimes. You
Yep,
know, we're
that's
we're
true.
wrong often. So and I'm just counting on Zach Duncan being wrong for once. You haven't been wrong very
Uh,
much during the postseason. So
I've been picking pretty well in the playoffs on my dad. So
yeah, no, you've been
um,
picking extremely well.
5AD2, we're gonna move it right along. 5AD2, it was the
Yeah, let me
best
get it
game
up.
last year. It was the best game last year. Man, I'm expecting like it could be the best game again this year.
Mm,
Because you got Richmond Randall coming off that big win last year. But Randall's undefeated. South Oak Cliff only has that loss to Duncanville on their resume. This is gonna set the tone for those other two games, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. Whatever team you pick in this one, you can make a case, and you're not wrong. I expect this one to open up Saturday morning. The trio of Dallas versus Houston games to be a another classic. Hopefully, for me, I went with Randall. I know my pre-playoff picks. I picked South Oak Cliff, but what they did last week, the Bernie, seventh-ranked Bernie, they completely dominated them with that 40-16 win. I read about how great their red zone defense was. And on the flip side of the ball, I think they have one of the best running backs in the state in Landon William Collis. I was listening to Steppers deal from, or not, Teppers from Dave Campbell's, and he was talking about how they were able to have an answer for him, and it's going to be really tough to have a second answer for him. But yeah, now that we've made our way to the playoffs, we kind of see how each team's done. I lean more towards Richmond Randall, but this game can for sure go either way.
I'm going the
I mean,
rematch. I'm going the rematch. Like I chose Shiner in the rematch. I'm going with the jilted 2024 title rematch team again. Going with South Oak Cliff. I think that's my
I mean,
reasoning.
SOC is always so good on defense, right? I mean, they just churn out top defensive prospect after top defensive prospect over these last, decade or so that they've really been relevant at the, at a state level. But there isn't a guy in Texas. I mean, Williams Callis holds, I think I saw 54 offers. Now, I don't get all too caught up in the recruiting and the offers game, but 54 is just kind of hard to ignore. I mean, this dude is considered one of the best football players, not just in the state, but in the nation. I mean, he's really sought after. He was so good and so impressive last year. Richmond Randall. Randall, I thought was the best story from last year's state championship, winning their first as a young program, and the school is named after the head coach's father. I mean, it's just you can't. I mean, that's like Disney movie type thing. So it's just a great story. I'm sticking with them, man, and it really is. It's about Williams Callis for me. I look at that guy, elite player. If it, and I just the SOC doesn't get out there and they're not really built to just go into shootouts too often. They need this to be lower scoring. I think Randall can really push the pace. All right, let's keep this rolling. We're going to get through these things. Moving to you guys got to help me count sometimes. You notice
4A
when you're my
Stephenville
sponsors.
King. 4A D1
There you go.
Stephenville King Kilgore.
There we go. Get it on the sheet. That's unanimous. Stephenville. I think it's an easy pick. I've had Stephenville tags really since the beginning of the season. Once they beat the Ruston team from Louisiana, then people try to tell me, "Oh, Ruston wasn't as good as usual." Whatever. Man, Ruston was beating 6A programs out of here, out of DF or out of Texas. So once they did that and the way they did it, I've been on board with Stephenville, thinking they're going to win the whole way.
Yeah, if you're an O lineman, D lineman guy, this is going to be the game to watch. Each team is very good in the trenches. We've talked about Stephenville, how they boast size. I saw in person a couple weeks ago when they were playing out in Vernon against Dumas, and they do. This you can't completely write off Kilgore. I think one of the keys for Stephenville to win this game is they have to get their run game going. They have a really good running back in Zyler McClendon. He's built pretty good. It's someone I would not look forward to tackling. But Stephenville can't be one dimensional. I know they have a really good quarterback in Trot Jordan, but I think that Kilgore defensive line, it's going to make it a little difficult for Stephenville. But if they can get Zyler McClendon going in their running game, I think Stephenville can win this. And also the way Kilgore lost too, I don't think they're going to go down again like how they did this Salida last year.
Yeah, and you mentioned the kicker situation. I think this is a game that could have some field goals being kind of low scoring in it. Both teams allowing less than 10 points a game. I'm going to go with the team that just had the kicker kick a 46-yarder to ice things against Salina because I thought that was impressive. Both Salina and Stephenville's kickers had a field goal from about the same distance, less than 2 minutes left. Stephenville's drilled theirs, and that's why they're playing this week.
All right. Well, yeah. Again, unanimous here on Stephenville, and we're going to leave this one and go to another unanimous pick in 4AD2. all of us picking Carthage to beat West Orange Stark, and hey, it's Carthage in the state title game. It is hard to pick against Coach Scott Surratt.
No, you're not picking against them. I think kind of a lot of people decided Pleasant Grove and Carthage was a really big, almost de facto title game a few weeks ago, and Carthage
Yeah,
came from behind to win that 34-20. Um, they just made a pretty good Brock team, beat them by 28. Carthage wins these games. I mean, I don't care what you say. I don't expect Carthage to lose. West Orange Stark, cool to get back. They're a good program. They've had a couple close games along the way this year. Carthage just blows everybody out of the water every game they play. So I think this could be one of the biggest margin of victory games this week.
Yeah, I agree. Carthage, pound for pound, probably one of the best teams in the state. They've got D1 signings everywhere, including their running back, KJ Edwards. I'm sure everyone's going to hear his name a lot
yeah.
on Friday. But on the other side of the field, West Orange Stark, they have a really good running back in Kevley Jefferson. But the downside is that's all they really have. They're pretty one-dimensional. And, yeah, you can't walk in one-dimensional expect to beat Carthage. So I agree with Zach. I think this is going to be the most lopsided 11-man game of the week.
A little biased. I'm a Colorado fan, and they got a Colorado signee there playing at Carthage, and their linebacker Carson Crawford, and he plays a little receiver too. But this is about KJ Edwards. Man, he's so good. I think he was. I think this time last year he was actually an Ohio State commit, or at least had him on the radar. Now he's a Texas A&M signee. You know how the recruiting thing goes, but. The fact that Surratt too, this is his last one with the son at quarterback, Jet. I mean, just makes something real special for them. Yeah, this is Carthage Surratt getting another one, and adding on to his Hall of Fame career resume. Moving on, we'll go 3AD1, get it up on the board. Another unanimous pick coming across the board from us. All of us picking Yoakum to beat Grandview in this game, and I'm gonna think again that kind of the list of teams that Yoakum beat later here in the playoffs that really influenced my decision, and I'll let you guys say that if that did the same for you.
Yeah, they avenged the Columbus loss because they lost them in district, and they
Yeah,
avenged that a couple weeks ago in the regional finals. And to me, like that was kind of like the game where okay, maybe I don't know if Columbus was the favorite going in, but they were one of the kind of favorites to watch, and they beat them. Grandview's kind of playing some. I mean, they've had some close calls in the playoffs. They beat Palmer by 7 points to start district. They win 49-48 game over. I mean, they've won 3 games by a touchdown or less, and that's good that they won those games. But I don't know. I think on paper, Yoakum looks like the more dominant team. Grandview's won a couple state titles somewhat recently. I saw there's the Jinch kid that was their quarterback when they won them. I think 18-19. Like he has got a little brother who's a freshman starter on this team. So Grandview's not going to be like overwhelmed in this game or whatever. But I think Yoakum has kind of the better resume, and they're maybe playing some really good ball right now.
Yeah, for me, looked at kind of see where Grandview is coming from since I kind of covered that region two with Pilot Point in there, and they have some really good wins at the beginning of the year. I mean, they beat Glen Rose, they went and beat Eagle Mountain. Now we know that has like 5A enrollment numbers, so those are two really good wins. So this Grandview team isn't a bad team, but for me, for Yoakum, their SMU commit at the receiver position, Xavier Barnett. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. If not, I apologize. But I think that's going to be the difference maker, all their play and their playmaking ability. And like you said, their win over Columbus, who was number one in state, I think that kind of put an exclamation point that they were the team to beat.
yeah. Then that's where I came from, man. I just you look at some of the teams that they had to play. They came from a really tough district in the first place, being in a district with Columbus and Hitchcock. If and then Fairfield was a team that I had tabbed that I thought was uh, going to win state in this division, which I thought this was the most open division in the state coming into it. And then they hand Fairfield the loss early in the playoffs. So uh, I kind of go to Zach's thing. I thought Fairfield was going to win it all. Whenever Fairfield fell, I kind of switched and was thinking Columbus was going to win it all. Well, Yoakum took out both of those. So how can I not go with Yoakum at this point? Again, I don't think Grandview's got a proud tradition. That they're not going to, like you said, not going to be overwhelmed. There's some kids who remember, like you say, the Gents kid. Obviously, he experienced it in a different way, but I mean, there's a pedigree there, right? Winning begets winning and all that. So I think it's it's going to be it could be a good game, but I think this is Joachim's year. But obviously, Grandview is a team to rise to watch there, seeing how redistricting and everything goes come in February. All right, on to 3A D2. What do you got? Newton taking on Wall. Most of us going Wall. Zach Duncan lone wolfing it here with Newton. What's the thought? How's the how?
Okay,
Can we get
so
you the how?
what did Newton? Who did Newton lose to? But don't look it up. Just like, do you know?
Off the top of my head, I really
Okay,
I
do not.
saw it today, but
so
I can't tell you.
they lost to West Orange Stark,
Man.
which
Yeah,
is playing for a state title, two divisions up, and they lost by 8 points to start the year. And ever since then, they basically like murdered everybody on their schedule. They did have a close game against Jefferson, which is a bigger school, but they've pretty much destroyed everybody. Now, maybe their schedule's not as tough. I don't know. As Walls, maybe Walls played the better schedule. Wall, a huge win over Gunner. I think it'd be cool to see Wall win. I always kind of root for teams around this region, teams that play some of our teams. Um, I've talked to Coach Slaughter down there a couple times. He used to be at Clyde. I'm kind of rooting for them, but man, Newton's going to be play fast. I just think their resume looks really good. They have a little more tradition than Wall does. I just think, they're averaging 55 points a game. I just think, can Wall, Wall's defense is great, but can Wall match their speed? And that's just, and traditionally, East Texas-ish speed um, trumps West Texas like strength.
yeah.
So that's why I'm going with Newton.
Yeah. Yeah, I know I spoke too early last week. I said Wall Gunner was going to be the state championship decider. And after what Newton did last week, I know East Bernard was probably the weakest of the four teams playing last week in this division, but still, they caught my eye, and I was like, I kind of take that back now. But yeah, I agree with what Zach said. Newton's definitely the faster team. They kind of hang their hat on how well their defensive front plays. I think where this matchup is going to be won is Wall's offense versus Newton's defense. And there's I almost picked Newton, but there's one thing I feel like there's a huge difference in, and that's the experience at quarterback. One team has a senior, and the other one has a freshman. And I think that Landon York kid, who's a experienced quarterback at Wall, that's what made me decide Wall on this one over Newton. But this is going to be a really good game Thursday night.
I York definitely impacted my decision as well to go with Wall, but I'm not going to lie. There's a little bit of my West Texas bias coming out here. I really hope that a West Texas team can take this, and especially one like Wall that traditionally is kind of known more as a basketball school. But then that's just they have a really good athletic program all together, and so and not to mention, like this Wall team, they really just kind of transitioned to a different offense. In their last couple of years, right? They used to be kind of what a flex bone or a wing T type team. Run heavy scheme is what they always ran down there, and so now they went to the spread a couple years ago, and they really just taken to it. So that's just a fun story as well. So, man, I'm hoping to keep maybe some of my USA Today brethren down there busy, needing to having to write about a Wall State championship on a on the which day is this game?
Thursday night.
Thursday night.
Thursday. So
Hey, and
there we
don't get me
go.
wrong. I'd love to see Wall win. I'm rooting for him. I just think what East Texas speed, man. It's hard to beat East
No,
Texas
you're
speed at
you're
the
not
lower
wrong.
levels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong. 2A D1 going to this one. This one is kind of the real toss up for me. This was the toughest game to pick. Toughest game to pick. Hamilton versus Joaquin. Let me say it correctly for you two guys who can't seem to pronounce things, as I was just struggling with the word pick. But Hamilton versus Joaquin here in this 2A Division One matchup. Break it down for me, Zach.
I just saw Hamilton play last week. I was really impressed. I know Joaquin runs the ball pretty well. I saw Hamilton do a very good job, I thought, against West Texas. And the Comanches had a huge offensive line, and Hamilton's defense is playing really well. They had hauled Axtell to 3 points. For me, I just feel like I saw them do. I know Joaquin does differently stuff than West Texas does, but I saw them dig their heels in. Plus, here's the thing: I can't even tell you where Joaquin is on a map. I've driven through Hamilton like 30 times, so maybe it's nostalgia for me. But like, I saw him last week. This is my breakdown. I was like, could be a close game. I'll root for the team I saw last week. I thought they played well defensively. So
Yeah, for me, I'm putting my trust in Hamilton's defense. I went back and looked at who they played in that region two. I thought that region two had a lot of depth, and they didn't have a single one possession game. They met up with a very good undefeated West Texas team in Owl Park this past week and took care of business. So that's why I'm rolling with Hamilton. I think their defense gets the job done. The big question is what kind of answer do they have for Joaquin's slot T? We saw that slot T give number one Refugio a lot of problems in the fourth quarter, which gave him that crazy comeback to start a crazy weekend. But I think that's what's going to be decided on who wins or loses the game on Hamilton's defense versus Joaquin's slot T offense.
I kind of went Joaquin honestly because I thought this game was a toss up, and I saw a lot of people were picking Hamilton, and I just think it's more even than that. I love a good slot T offense. I like to watch one of those offenses go. Joaquin finished third in its district, right? And both of these teams, by the way, making their first appearances at state too. I mean, it's just it sets up for such a unique. I mean, we like new blood, right? And Zach, you kind of wrote about this, getting new blood in these title games, and both of them have it. I come back to it. I'm going to go. I'm going to roll slot T. I like old school offenses. They work really well at the lower levels. And so I'm just, that's where I'm at, man. I'm just taking Joaquin just because of that. Joaquin, by the way, on the map, very close to the Louisiana border.
okay, there we go.
So if we could get you, I could get you on your way to like Shreveport for a casino visit or something. You might
I
find a
see.
reason to run through. So, all right. Moving forward, we got two more of these left. We're moving to the 6man ranks. Six
This
man
game's not this
D1.
game. This game's not gonna be close. So like Gordon's just gonna kill him. Like Gordon's really really good. Like a once in a generation type team. 2 years ago we saw it. They beat Westbrook. That was a huge win for them to get over. Like they were actually all of that group of sophomores. And they kind
Yeah.
of upset Westbrook a little bit, and they haven't lost since. And they're not losing to Rankin. Mike Reed gonna win his fifth title. His son, he's gonna coach his son for the last time. So. Um, yeah, like cool story for Rankin to get there. They're trying to win the first title. It's not happening. Uh, Gordon's gonna like a. They're gonna. These guys are gonna go state basketball title probably for sure. Win a state track title. They're gonna dominate Class A and they're gonna dominate this game. That's what I got. I mean, I'm just
Took the
feeling
words
like
out of my
this.
mouth. No. I
Like,
mean, if you want a name to watch from Rankin and give him a little bit of a shout out, it's going to be their running back, Matthew Ramos. He's ran for 427 yards and scored 9 touchdowns last 2 weeks. But, I mean, like, arguably this is probably one of the best six-man teams ever. They have 2 Division I commits. They're not beating Gordon, so.
Yeah. One's an Air Force. Striker Reed's going to the Air Force. Rye Reed's going to Army. Uh, Both of them are talented enough to play at that level. They're getting to play in some 11-man national attention All-Star games. I mean, they're just like you said, they're a
And that was the
rare
only game they
combination.
played a full game in is when they played Thorndale, the 2A school, is because they had to go
Yeah.
four quarters. Every other six-man game they played has been by mercy rule. So,
And Zach, you mentioned that Westbrook game. A lot of us picked Westbrook to win that game, and Gordon left no doubt about it. I mean that they were clearly the best team on the field, and that was kind of the coming out party, I guess you will, for these the Reed kids. No relation between the two of them, but yeah, and Stryker and Rye Reed, there's no beating them at the 6-man level. It's hard enough when you've got one kid that's as good an athlete as the two of them are to win it and to beat a team that good at 6-man level. When you got two kids like that, it's just flat out unfair. I know where Rankin is. I've been to Rankin. I have driven through Rankin. I know where Rankin is on the map. I know you may not, but good luck, Red Devils. I covered some Rankin games early in my career, but yeah, this is all Gordon. We know that.
which 1% picked Rankin? Like you got 99% on Gordon. Some Rankin follower like
I don't.
try to.
Whenever I was making this graphic, there was 135 submissions, and 2 of them picked Rankin. So,
Oh
shout
gosh.
out to those
Man,
2 picks. Good
Okay.
luck.
All right.
man,
Whatever.
brave man, brave. Going with it. Here we go. Last game that we're going to preview, and it's Jayton versus Richland Springs for the 1A D2 title. And we're all unanimous with Jayton, and I don't know that, again, we're expecting a very close game off of this.
I think it has a chance of being closer than Gordon. It's not going to surprise me if both are mercy rolled. Richland Springs actually has a really great history traditionally of state
Yep.
championships, but Jayton's been the best team all year, and I mean, I think Jayton's going to get it done. Shout out to Benjamin because Benjamin actually has played them better than anyone else really has, but Jayton won the state title 54-8 over Oakwood last year, and I think they get it done Wednesday afternoon at AT&T.
Yeah, one thing I saw that was interesting, there's 18 title appearances between these two teams and 12 state titles, and this is the first time these two teams are playing each other. I thought that was kind of a interesting fact there. But both of these teams are kind of similar on defense. They play very physical. They create turnovers, put their offense in good positions. But at the end of the day, if there's an offense and a defense I have to point at and trust more, it's going to be Jayton with Colt Gentry and the head coach's son. I can't think off the top of my head, but I mean,
Stanley.
Stanley, yeah. You don't pick against Jayton. They're going back to back. The only thing I hope for is it's competitive and it doesn't end by the mercy rule, but it probably will. So
Yeah, Sean Stanley is he's arguably the best basketball player, Class A basketball player in the state. He's definitely one of the best defensive overall leaders on this team. Gentry kind of gets some. I mean, he's that guy. He was the defensive MVP last year. I guess Stanley was offensive MVP too. Now think about it, but yeah, I just think that Jayton has so much depth for a 6-man Division II team. They offer so much from a depth perspective, and then just the number of guys that can go out there and make a play. I did just see this, man, and this can't be ignored. It needs to be talked about. But there is an Etheridge on this Richland Springs team, which speaks a lot to the history of 6-man football. You can't really tell the history of 6-man football in the state of Texas without that last name Etheridge. So there's a little bit of that, at least, to hang your hat on there with that Richland tradition.
Is it Zach Etheridge in his prime?
And I don't think it's that.
It's
No.
not. Okay, then it's not going to matter. Then it's not going to matter. Give me Jayton. So.
Well, all right. Well, guys, we did it. We got to the end of it. Broke down every single one of these games. Really, thanks to Brady Carney, one of the nicest guys in the world. Seriously, coaching field, whatever it is, come across Brady Carney, one of the nicest guys in the world. So humble, so grateful, and him taking the time to do that. But man, I hope everybody enjoys this week. It's such a great week for us. I know there's really nothing else that we're going to be doing Wednesday, Thursday, no matter where we're at. If we're at our real jobs, we're going to be having the computer on somewhere just to keep up with these games, whether we're watching them or just looking at live stats as they come through. So anything just you guys want to pop off real quick, things that you're looking forward to most as we get going through this week?
Not having to use your login for Bally Sports. So now it's on Victory
Yeah.
TV.
And it's
so now
free.
Yeah, so I haven't even downloaded the app, but I need to do it now, and I need to make sure it's on my TV. That I think that's pretty cool. So that's a big one. I think that, and just I mean, not every one of these games is going to be good, even though we feel like a lot of them will. But I always love the dramatic finishes. I saw the North Shore Hail Mary the first time they played Duncanville. I just think it's a cool environment just to check out, even if it's just for a game or two. And I just think a lot of people will be watching these games, and that's how it should be. So
yeah, pretty much what I was going to say. If you've never been, I highly recommend going, seeing the atmosphere, seeing the different town, the traditions. If you need help picking a day to go down, I'd recommend either Thursday or Saturday. But I mean, you can't go wrong. Definitely go down there and experience it.
Awesome. Yeah, no, can't wait. I know we're both hoping all three of us get down there for at least one day and looking forward to it. So, guys, just want to say thank you again for taking time to do this. Anybody that's stuck with us and viewed this thing and and been with us all year. Thank you. We're going to do one more of these shows. It's going to happen. One more Falls Friday night coming to you Friday, obviously Friday night after the state championship games from that day. Obviously, there'll be 3 to be played still Saturday, but we will bring this show one more time on Falls Friday night. Who knows? Maybe we got a very gracious, excited Brady Carney coming back on it if they win that championship. So we'll see how that goes. But either way, we'll do it one more time. So thanks to our sponsors. We'll hit them on the way out. For Nolan Clark and 940 Game Day, Zach Duncan, a Red River Roundup. I'm Jonathan Hull. You have been watching Falls Friday Night.
Tonight's broadcast of Falls Friday Night was brought to you by Arrowhead Roofing. For more than 25 years, Arrowhead Roofing has been Texoma's trusted name for roofing, siding, gutters, and more. When storms hit or it's time for an upgrade, call the team Texoma has relied on since 1999. Arrowhead Roofing, the exterior experts. And Macaulay Landscapes. For 21 years, Macaulay Landscapes has been keeping Wichita Falls beautiful. Visit MacaulayLandscapes.com to learn more about their full range of services. Macaulay Landscapes, making Wichita Falls look its best since 2003. That wraps up another edition of Falls Friday Night. Every score, every story, every Friday.